Hello everyone. Today our team will present an analysis of DKI Jakarta's mandatory spending performance for the year 2022 and 2023, period based on the audited regional government financial reports. This mandatory is a crucial component as it concerns basic services to the community. Before our presentation begins, I would formally like to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Toku Muhammad Ishad Lukiansyah Mahmud.
My name is Fatih Rizky Rahmani.
My name is Jonathan Arven Ananargia.
My name is Esther Angelica.
And now let us begin.
So, talking about mandatory spending for government, what is mandatory spending is meaning for? So, mandatory spending refers to a type of government expenditure governed by laws or regulation requires the government to allocate funding for specific program or activities. At this point, the allocation requirements are 20% for education from the regional budget, then 40% for infrastructure of the regional budget, and the last one is health on 10% of the regional budget. This is not optional, but rather a legal obligation that local government must take and fulfill to guarantee basic services to the community.
All right. Now, as you can see from our infographics here, we can see that there is an increase and a decrease. As you can see, there is an increase in health, social, and maintenance of public order and community and protection, while there is a decrease of education and public works and spatial planning and public housing and settlement. Why is that? The increase in spending on health, social affairs, and maintenance-related sectors reflects DKI Jakarta's continued focus on improving public welfare and basic services. The government prioritized healthcare access, social protection programs, and facility upkeep to strengthen community resilience and service quality. While in contrast, sectors such as public works, housing, and urban planning saw a sudden decrease or stagnation due to completion of major infrastructure in earlier years, tighter budget efficiency measures, and the shift resource towards some people-centered programs. The reallocation shows a strategic move from large-scale physical development toward improving human development and social well-being. Now, I would like to explain why is there leftovers, why is there an absorption in the data? That is because of multiple factors, such as unobtrusive and procurement delays. Many government programs, especially those under public works, housing, and urban planning, require complex procurement and verification processes. Tender evaluations, contract signings, and document clarifications often take longer than expected, resulting in project delays. When implementation is postponed, the allocated budget remains utilized year-end and may need to be carried over or reprogrammed in the following fiscal period. 2. Project adjustments and policy reprioritization. Throughout the fiscal year, the government frequently revises programs' priorities to align with emerging needs or policy shifts. For instance, in 2022, a substantial portion of the budget was still focused on post-pandemic recovery programs, while in 2023, the emphasis shifted towards strengthening education and healthcare services. These adjustments sometimes caused initially planned activities to be scaled down, postponed, or canceled, leading to reduced spending. 3. Implementation efficiency and cost savings. Not all underspending signals are efficiency. In certain cases, such as education and social affairs, programs achieve their intended outcomes below the initial cost estimates, generating fiscal savings. This indicates proved spending efficiency where service delivery targets are met while minimizing expenditure. Such savings contribute to better overall fiscal discipline and financial sustainability. 4. Bureaucratic and coordination barriers. Projects involving multiple agencies or interdepartmental coordination often face bureaucratic bottlenecks, administrative overlaps, and lengthy approval chains, or differences in implementation timelines can slow project execution. This is particularly evident in sectors like public works and housing, which require collaboration across several technical departments and external factors. Now, now my friend will talk about how to improve budget absorptions.
Okay, next is the solution. We have identified three solutions. The first is realistic planning, the second is fast and efficient implementation, and the third is adaptive evaluation. First, realistic planning. The budget is prepared based on actual needs and conditions to ensure that funds are well targeted by accurately identifying needs through data and analysis. Second, fast and efficient implementation. Executing program and activity on schedule will optimizing the use of resources by carrying out activity according to the timeline, strengthening coordination among units to speed up progresses, and ensuring efficiency without reducing quality. Last, adaptive evaluation. Conducting monitoring and adjustment to ensure that budget implementation remains relevant to current conditions by regularly monitoring progress and budget absorption.
Okay, last we talk about conclusion. The assessment of DKI Jakarta 2022 and 2023 mandatory spending performance demonstrates persistence, structural asymmetry in budget absorption across key public sector, while education and social programs consistently achieve high realization rates 97% and 94% in 2022 and 95% and 96% in 2023, respectively. Capital-intensive sectors such as public works, spatial planning, and housing recorded comparatively lower and declining absorption levels, falling below 90% in both years. This divergence underscore the systemic inefficiencies in procurement, administrative coordination, and project execution that continue to impede optimal fiscal performance. Such patterns reveal a deeper tension within Indonesian mandatory spending framework. The emphasis on complements with statutory allocation ratio of funds constrains fiscal flexibility and obscures the qualitative dimension of expenditure effective. In practice, adherence to spending mandates may secure budgetary discipline, yet it does not necessarily guarantee development of efficiency or policy responsive. Addressing the structural deficiencies requires not only procedural improvements in planning and disbursement, but also institutional reform that embeds adaptive governance, performance-based budgeting, and intersector coordinating mechanism. Ultimately, engaging budget absorption should be reframed not as an exercise in accelerating expenditure, but as an endeavor to reconcile fiscal obligation with governance capability. Only through a shift from quantitative complements to qualitative effective can mandatory spending fulfill its intended role as an instrument of equitable and sustainable public development. So that's it from my conclusion.
Okay, I believe that is all from us. We hope you enjoyed. We hope you learned a thing or two. And that's going to be all from us. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.